Congratulations, you just received the interview invitation. But now, all you need to do is just go ahead and crush it, right? So now I'm going to give you total 9 tips and 1 bonus, total 10 tips, so you can be ready and really can go and shine yourself. So what are you waiting for? Let's get started. Often happens. You probably the one of the most suitable candidate, but just because because of some of the small glitches, some other people can get the job. So you may lose the opportunity as well too. So that is the why it's so much important that you really prepare for your job interview. So that is why I'm going to give you this 10 tips, 9 and 1 bonus to get going and really go and grab the job. All right. So tip number 1: do your research. When the company is or anything can happen to your company, invite you for a job interview. Do your research about the company. You got an interview call for a scholarship program. You do your research about which company or which organization is giving you scholarship as well. So you even got an interview invitation for a club. You do research what the club activity they are doing into it. So when you do the research about like this, about that interviewing organization, that really give you more understanding about the organization, that makes you more confident, and when you come into the interview and can really speak out this information, that make you look more legit and also look like much more mature and really well suited candidate as well too. So that's why it's a tip number 1. All right, the tip number 2, make a plan to present what you're going to do after getting that position. Such an example, you are interviewing for a job position, right? So you talk about what are you going to achieve, for what is going to look like after 1 year later in the job. You talk about this one. You talk about those futuristic points. That is so much important, because that really understand the interviewer to understand how much you're compatible, how much you're pro, and how much you experience about the particular role. Let's say you were applying for scholarships, right? You're going to tell what you're going to give it back to the community when you get the scholarship program. That is one of the things. Let's say you are interviewing for a ambassador program, or you're interviewing for a club member program. You talk about what you're going to achieve on that role. If you become a club member, what you're going to give back to the club and what things you're going to achieve. So that was the tips number 2. All right. So now let's talk about tips number 3. Review the top 100 interview questions. It's very simple. You can just put it on in Google around, and you can find those top 100 questions which you should go through. But anyway, I'm going to put a link behind in this video, so you can easily click that link and can get the top 100 commonly practiced interview questions. So that was one of the very crucial results. Go through this one and be mentally get prepared. Those are the commonly questions can come over. Number 4, this is another one. So in this point, you have to talk about a bit why you are really thinking about you are suitable for this job. You have to come up with at least top 3 reasons why you're outstanding and why you're really suitable for this job. Your expertise, your background, and your project experience, and your personality. You can blend all this together and can really prepare your answer. So my point is, before you even walk to the interview, you prepare this answer for your mind, and it should be in your, do not just memorize it, but you should be having these key points inside of your mind, because if you memorize this one, you will be talking like a puppet. So that is really wrong, and that's very easily interviewer can pick up. You learn it by heart, so probably it's not the right thing, and that's the thing you don't want to do, right? 5. So this is the point. You try to keep your answer very standard and to the point. Do not just play around with a lot of detail. But this is very important. When you're answering in part of your questions, you talk about how you're going to do this one, and then you relate it to your previous experience, what you have done in the past. You relate it and give a small example about this one. When I use the word small, there is an into it. You cannot just speak for 10-15 minutes, give an example. You got to be very specific, and you have to the point, and you relate it to the answer. If in case if you don't have a particular experience for that one, so you can come in and say that, okay, I think this is one of the great way of doing this one. But again, I think it's very dangerous, because when you're saying that I think, it may be not the right answer. So you got to be very clear and very make sure that you're saying something which is gonna be really correct. Tip number 6. Come up with your materials, come up with your notebooks. If you've been working in a marketing department, in a public relations department, you probably have built something great project or handout or brochures. Come up with one of them. You can bring up your notebooks as well. So in the notebooks, you have different kind of points you have written down. You probably have done some research, and you put them all the notes, and you can share by watching the notebook as well. So even during the interview, when they're asking you questions, you can definitely take notes and put in your notebooks too. So that's why it's one of the great tips to come over with the notebooks, where you have your notes already, and then in the notebook you also put your notes during the interview as well. So that will really show your interviewer that you are well prepared, or you're really for the positions, or really for the scholarships. That is one of the key messages. So this is very related to the previous tips. You gotta come up with your own set of questions. So when you come into the job interview or in scholarship interview, any kind of interview, you should come up with a set of questions which you want to ask to the interviewer, and you pick this question very carefully. Do not just come up with, can you tell a little bit about your company? That's a horrible question, and that's kind of going to be destroying your whole opportunity you have built it out. You ask some question which the information you cannot find it out, but you can talk about, but you can ask about the strategy. You can talk about what is the next level of this position, so what is the career path of these positions, or you can talk about something of the culture of the organizations. These are great questions. Do not come with a really bad and low quality question that will simply hurt you actually what you have done so far in this interview. So come up with really specific questions, and like I said, that put them in your notebook so you don't have to memorize anymore, right? The next tips: dress like a pro. Do not dress up like a t-shirts and shorts. Wear on proper work dress. It's always being overdressed rather than underdressed. When you are outside in the company, you don't know what kind of dress code they have. Maybe they wear sneakers, or they probably wear jeans and t-shirt. You don't know. But as you walk in the very first day, you should be well dressed. At least you should be looking professional enough. I'm not telling you to wear a suit in every interview, but I'm telling you what level you are coming into. Let's say if you're interviewing for C-suite, probably a suit, yes. But if you are coming for junior level, wear a proper dress. You can put a tie into it. You can wear full sleeve shirts and the proper formal pants, and wear a black shoe. You can walk into the interview. So that is what will show you that you are really professional enough, and you really want to get into the organization. You want to add value. So now the next tips. The next tip is also very critical too. Introduce yourself. That is like one of the very oldie questions, but that will be one of the questions always been asked and will be keep asking to you. So you probably 99% chance that in the interview walking and you very first question you receive, please introduce yourself or tell a little bit about you. It's all the same question. So that's why you gotta be preparing your 2 to 3 minutes short, specific, clear, and interesting description to introduce yourself, which you will talk about a little bit about you, what things you have achieved, and what things you want to do, and you can relate to what thing you want to achieve in that role too. Very short thing, and that can trigger some of the additional question, which is good. Don't be nervous about this question. When they're triggering about this more questions based on you introducing yourself, that is good, because now they are more interested in more about you, and that's exactly where you can tell more about them, and you guys will be able to have opportunity to work together. And the last tips: practice makes a man and woman perfect, not only the man. So it doesn't matter whatever you are. So you should be using all the practice sessions. If you are applying for junior levels, you should be practicing more. But if you're going to senior level, that's great. Maybe you already have a lot of interview you have gone through already. So you can still practice at one time. Use those answers before you getting into the interview. So in the interview, you can be more comfortable to answer with this one. So I told you I'm going to give you one last technique. Last technique, this one. After finishing the interview, you should come in and shake the hand. Do not just walk away and thank you very much and you walk away. You shake the hand, so that will make sure that you are really connecting with the person and you are ready for the job or the scholarship or interview and so on. So now these are the tips, guys. These are the tips all you need to do to make sure that you can do some smashing interview and crush it. Don't be nervous. Congratulations, you have got this interview invitation, and now you already got the tips what you need to prepare for a crushing interview, this one, and get the job or get the scholarships. So all the best. Good luck. If you have any other questions, go ahead and comment below. I would love to give you an answer. If you have any other tips from your mind, go ahead and comment too as well. I would love to interact with you. But I like to say, you got this. All the best for the job interview.